energy patterns, like my screen flickering in and off. I think it's apropos in a metaphor. But even if that which brings about happiness was to rain down upon you, but your perception and perspective was negative, you couldn't reap the benefits, could you? And even if there was extreme negativity surrounding you, but your feel from your heart of your energy was one of positiveness, then no matter what, you would find happiness. Obviously, we know of many examples of individuals who have very difficult situations, but they don't lose their kindness, their happiness. They don't lose their smile even in the midst of their suffering. And then, obviously, at the other end of the spectrum, ourselves included, who have all that we need and are blessed, but we find vast amounts of energies to complain and to be in what we lack. So look around. You got up this morning, at least it appears to be a sunny day, and you're all healthy, I hope all healthy in varying degrees. So this is blessing. You got up. I'm happy to see Lama Sona, and I remember the phrase every time he gave me Lama Sona, his great wisdom yogi. I got up this morning. That's a blessing, right? So Lama Sona, I got up, and not only did I get up, I stood up, and I was able to walk about with a minimal amount of discomfort. And I think Lama Sona said to me, I'm not fertilizer. I may be flickering in and out, but I'm not fertilizer just yet. But anyway, good to see you this morning, Lama Sona. Good to see you. So, just to share some thoughts from last night's practice. Obviously, just when we thought we had reached the end of the ride, we're discovering we're just beginning. And it's been 2 years or more that we have been in the throes of this virus. But maybe it's been 20 kalpas or more that the real virus that has consumed us continues to grow. Ignorance, desire, and anger, and all of the various other obscurations. One phrase I heard of late was the arrogance of ignorance. The arrogance of ignorance, which increases and continues our suffering. So if we have the arrogance of ignorance, then maybe we can have the loving kindness and knowledge and wisdom as the counter. We change our ignorance and our desires and our anger into the opposite. You can do this at this very moment by generating that thought. The thought that must always be there for us is the motivation, is to recognize that we can see the immense suffering that's occurring throughout not just human realm, but recognize the immense suffering that is occurring throughout all of the realms of existence. And it's rising from that singularity of, we could say, is ignorance. So the thought was, we may not be able to change the outer circumstance because the bell has already been rung, so to speak. But at this very moment, we can change our attitude. We can begin to change our thoughts. And if we change the thoughts at our deepest level, then we begin to change the, I will use the word, the harmonic field or quantum field that is surrounding us. And going back, that concept, if the field is charged more highly with the negative energies, then thus the thinking pattern will go that way, and vice versa. What can we do? We can alter a thought. In the same way, we can put our belief in the arrogance of ignorance. Then why couldn't we place it in embracing knowledge and wisdom and generating loving kindness and compassion no matter what? So today we will do the modified Urgyen Drupa, and then we'll do, hopefully we can do Gonpa. And so now, again, superheroes. Many places we see many movies, superheroes. They should make one movie, and there are some movies about Guru Rinpoche. Many, even far back when I first read the Tibetan Book of the Dead, although Guru Rinpoche, he is superhero, Buddha superhero. So we need superheroes now. And not superheroes running around with a cape and some other accoutrements, tridents, or mask, or even though the mask is taking on a different connotation now, hasn't it? But we need many superheroes who are quietly maybe going about in this field of society that are making changes within that are reflected without. So we want to summons and become manifestations of Guru Rinpoche. Guru Rinpoche covering the whole planet. Guru Rinpoche linking up. It's like you have a primal source, like a crystal, a huge crystal. And that crystal itself is the source of light. And it extends out its rays. And imagine on each ray, like that of the sun, there's a manifestation of Guru Rinpoche. And each one of those radiates manifestations of Guru Rinpoche until all of space itself, particle and wave, every particle and wave of the quantum field is manifesting as Guru Rinpoche. Who are these particles and waves? We are. You are. That you connect to this quality that is put forth, as you said, you would embody the qualities of the Buddha, which means you would embody the qualities of Guru Rinpoche, of all the great masters, Manjushri, Avalokiteshvara, Tara, etc. What are the main qualities that they all exhibit? Loving kindness and compassion for the benefit of all sentient beings by establishing the motivation, and the motivation is that all sentient beings are suffering, which we see there's much suffering now. And seeing that is not enough. We go, oh, so sorry, oh, so sorry you're suffering. I wish I could do something. Well, there is something you can do. So, you can recognize that each and every one of those sentient beings is connected to us, connected to you. In essence, they are your mother, they are your parents. And regardless of what you might feel of your parents, which is fashionable to have negative feelings, if it was not for them, we would not be here. So we have to give grace, gratitude, and thanks to our parents and have deep compassion for the suffering they have endured just so that we could exist. So having arrived at having the motivation to be a benefit to all sentient beings, then one must have a process or a path to follow that lays out your intention. So your intention is to engage in the practice of the path of the truth or the Dharma in order to come to the full recognition of one's own intrinsic enlightened nature. To arrive at the full recognition of one's intrinsic enlightenment nature for the benefit of all sentient beings. To do what? To be a catalyst in whatever way one can to alleviate suffering, starting with ourselves. From the thought I just hear as I'm talking myself, the classic phrase, which has quite a printed meaning, I will try my best actor's voice. There's a disturbance in the force. But the next line probably should have been, and that disturbance lies within each and every one of our own hearts. Look into your heart at this very moment. This heart space, heart center, your physical heart, your spiritual heart. How is your heart this morning? Where are your thoughts? Are you following the words of Talopa? As I sat here prior, let go of what is past. Let go of what is to come. Let go of what is occurring at this very moment. Don't try to figure anything out. And don't try to make anything happen. And it's such a simple instruction, says the last line. Relax. Right now. Rest. What is it to rest? Gonpa, let go and let be. Perhaps in a nanosecond you can enter into, we say there's height, there's width, there's depth, 3 dimensions. Time, 4th dimension. I like to think awareness or consciousness, 5th dimension. They all exist in space, 6 dimensions. Rest in timeless dimensionality. You just rest. Aren't you tired? Really, when you look deep inside, we have to keep going, keep our energies up, generating this attitude of being positive in the face of great adversity. But those are the yogis who practice and have the inner strength and fortitude to face the greatest adversities. And our greatest adversities is our imminent death. We don't fear or shun, but embrace the death and all of its ramifications. By doing that, at least I feel for me, it allows me to be fully engaged and present in living. This is what Talopa is referring. The being of presentness in the moment. The being of presentness in the moment. Where everything slows down and stops. A sense where the field that is agitated becomes balanced, the in and the out, a natural flow. Turning on the air filter, I had this metaphor me. I'm asking each one of you to become a virus filter. not Omicron, not Delta, Corona, whatever you want to call it, or whatever may come next. Like, how many shoes have dropped already? So when I say practice and be a filter, filter what? Filter the negativity. Filter the ignorance and the desire and the anger, the pride, and so forth and so on. So the superhero, the Rinpoche, can do these things. Then I thought by turning on this air filter that it will begin, in some degree, filter the air around. Is it possible that we also could begin to alter the space and the vibrations that are occurring within the spatial temporal context by altering our own inner field? If each one of us, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, that I can see, 17, that we can see, each stabilizes and alters your energetic field to one of loving kindness and compassion. If you had a bucket of water, and the bucket or a pond that was still, when you dropped the rock into it, and then we would see the ripples go out. May each one of us be like a stone dropped into a still pond, and the ripples are going out into space. And slowly, the field is being changed. I know, and you also know, of many great masters who are sitting in their hermitages, sitting in their caves, in the monasteries, and in the everyday houses, practicing to stabilize the field. What do we want to put into the field, which is really already there? Wisdom and knowledge, loving kindness and compassion, joyousness and equanimity. I was listening to one teacher, and he says, we take 1,000 people. Well, and you go to a football game, there may be 20,000, 30,000, 40,000, maybe 100,000. And a sign came up and it said, would you start clapping? So they would clap, but you would hear all over, clapping all over. And then I was actually in a process like this with a griot, storyteller from Africa. And he had us do this clapping exercise. And he says, now I will give you the count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 2. And then all of a sudden there were 30 people in the room. And we all began clapping in unison. And then he said, we have all linked up through the sound. We link up through sound. We link up through thought. All of in our neural net, we are connected. So in the neural net, or the fabric of consciousness, we're all connected, and the single threads of that fabric of consciousness is woven with loving kindness and compassion. So today, every place you go, whatever you can think, just think you're emanating, you're radiating loving kindness and compassion, knowledge and wisdom. That you're being present, as Talopa is pointing out. The being of presentness in the moment. And when you are present, then that of the past falls away. That which has not come falls away. And even making comment on where you are in the moment falls away, and one is in this timelessness, open spatiality. And again, young master is very wise, constantly gives the teaching. Let your consciousness, let me rephrase, recognize that your consciousness is as vast as the space of the blueness of the sky. And that which comes and goes and stays and rises and dwells and ceases is nothing more than puffy, white, clouds going by. Can you catch the clouds? You can try. Reach out with your grasp and seize. And when you open your hand, you will have nothing that you can see. Isn't your thought like that? So as we practice today, I thought we should do Long Sattva. Every day you do Long Sattva. Become a thought purifier. We're absorbing, you absorb the negativity from the field, but you're inputting positiveness into the field. As Namakazi says, we may not see the change that we seek, but we should not forsake the change that we can begin by standing on our feet. So every place you go, radiate positive energies. We are at a time of awakening. And sometimes awakening is very difficult because we prefer sleeping. It's like someone has to push your shoulder, wake up, wake up. We still don't wake up. There may be like in some old 1940s movies, and, oh, wake up. It's like, wake up. Put smelling salt on the end, wake up. So the more and the deeper the sleep, the stronger the nudge. So I think as cultures, as societies, as civilizations, we're being shaken. Wake up. And recognize the unity of oneness that arises from the purity of your heart. Radiate the purity of your heart. Otherwise, don't fool yourself. I'm talking to me. We cannot dress and ring the bell and beat the drum, as one teacher says, in the morning, in the midday, and then at night we fall into the deprivation of our emotional trait and act in ways that we never thought we could. But we only thinking about ourselves, only looking to ourselves, and we know we should not. Who is it that you're having difficulty with right at this moment? Oh, I'm so happy they're here. This is my teacher. This is my mother. Now, maybe it's a little sad even we can identify a person with that difficulty, but that's human nature. But then in that instant, cannot you extend loving kindness and compassion? Maybe there's something around in your environment that we're not comfortable with. You can change that thought and become comfortable with it. But the teacher said, visualize the future that exists in the infinite possibilities of the quantum field that has not arrived, but it exists. How does it exist? Because you can think about it in an instant. That does not necessarily negate the perceptions of our present situation, but do not use it as a lever or a blanket or a shadow of doubt to negate possibilities. What is your possibility of it that you would like to draw into the present moment? Visualize at this very moment the enlightened nature, the evolved consciousness that is inseparable from the enlightened ones exist in each and every one of us at this very moment. Visualize or think at this very moment you are realized being. You are realized being. You are realized being. It's not enough to think it, because if thinking was the lever that moved, we would all change in an instant, wouldn't we? But like one, you can do positive thinking all you want, may have some benefit, but not much. But the moment you connect to your feeling, if you feel your realized nature, what is the quality of the realized nature? Space and light and openness and warmth and inner happiness and joy. Connect. Else, mumbling and banging, it doesn't make any sense. As soon as we get up from our seat, we become downtrodden and disgruntled and negative, etc. Might as well not practice at all. What if you could recognize that at this very moment, Lama would say, you're a little bit afraid. And he said, why? Because we're comfortable in our misery. And then immediately go, no, I'm not. Therefore, that is the misery. The ego clinging, Jamalinga. If these things are there in their negative state, then for sure there's ego clinging. So maybe not to talk too much more, too much thinking. Take a breath in and breathe out. You are the realized ones. Our ancestry goes back to the ancient ones. But our ancestry exceeds conceptuality of an ancient one, a new one, a middle one. Because this consciousness, at least I like to think, is timeless and permeates the totality of the universe from which it is inseparable, whether I'm able to fully comprehend what we seek it or not. Are you awakened? Do you wish to awaken? And if you do so, may it be for the benefit of all sentient beings. I'm just babbling to myself, I would like to think, as Shanti Deva. Maybe can you imagine Shanti Deva in some place just talking to himself and reminding himself, I must engage in the practice of the path of the truth so I can fully recognize and be a benefit to all sentient beings in this life and all my lives to come as I was in my life. And he says this over and over and over again. And now we can read his words in the Bodhicharya. May we all have the same, and we do all have the same recognition as Shanti Deva. Yeshu Shoga. Yeshu Wancha. May we all have a fingernails experience and wisdom and knowledge of Toku Bergen and Rinpoche. We do. So as we practice, may it blossom and may it come to fruition in each one of us, in me and you. Take a breath in, please. Breathing out. What is your motivation? What is your intent? Rest. Perhaps this time period, perhaps this lifetime will be the juncture, the proper juncture, as Long Chenpa would say, arriving at the proper juncture where we all collectively recognize the intrinsic enlightened nature for the benefit of all sentient beings. Rest. Hearing the old preachers say, put your troubles down and rest your heart and mind and be free. One cannot enter into the kingdom of the gods with their baggage and their stones. being dragged behind thee. Put your troubles down and be free. I remember him saying, as a little boy, put your troubles down and be free. Who has the troubles? Thinking. Constant thinking. Breathe in. Breathe out. And in this very moment, the enlightened ones surround us, look over us, protect us, provide. So then we visualize Rinpoche, Buddhas and Bodhisattvas, our roots teacher, all the way down to the present. And we say, most precious Guru, please think of me. Bestow the blessings that will free and ripen my mind so that I will realize as quickly as possible for the benefit of all sentient beings. Most precious Guru, please think of me. Bestow the blessings that will free and ripen my mind so that I may realize as quickly as possible for the benefit of all sentient beings. Most precious Guru, please think of me. Bestow the blessings that will free and ripen my mind so that I may realize as quickly as possible for the benefit of all sentient beings. Sentient beings are numberless. I vow to liberate them. Illusions are inexhaustible. I vow to transcend them. Dharma gates are boundless. I vow to enter them. Buddha's enlightened way is unsurpassable. I vow to embody it. Sentient beings are numberless. I vow to liberate them. Illusions are inexhaustible. I vow to transcend them. Dharma gates are boundless. I vow to enter them. Buddha's enlightened way is unsurpassable. I vow to embody it. Sentient beings are infinite. I vow to liberate them. Our delusions are inexhaustible. I vow to transcend them. Dharma gates are boundless. I vow to enter them. Buddha's enlightened way is unsurpassable. I vow to enter them. So again, we have many stories, examples, even all the way down to the present day, of those who have engaged in this process and arrived at this realization and continue to be a benefit to all the sentient beings. So we visualize all of the arhats, all of the bodhisattvas, gathered, almost standing shoulder to shoulder, and they're looking, maybe they're going, you have a request? You have something to ask? Don't be shy. Go ahead. It's already been granted.
也是让我人类宝贝我，这是让我有了真实了，这把的城市没不灭动的高波就破树，把给破的路我秘密上，让它随着那最后落的，只是那的顿的决胜，必然把日作战的戦争。下次那是为了这是为了竞争跟我为了长沙了，大家真的在我上班了，能的我是我故事内，乐的宝贝上的只是的，这是为了故事说话说。这个是我上山路的这全部是我上班的，因为这个是我的法根就是这个说，但是那个年的我是我故事内的法根上的只是的，这是的故事说话说。长的这些城市的这些的故事这个树的形式的树，不拿个把全部别穿全部都别说，都上班上个是人给的，这是的不去的，这个的你开始去，是人是人去的，上个上千人度的。三个人都能在这个真实生活的，其实能看到的，这我就是那个把历史的你那个人，各位的给什么说，只能当真不能说，对我的心是别说，我来刚把感情把，别将全部的给说，对我都留三八一，三月是能给的。真是能够去把这个的你开始去，是让你是人觉得上辈上千人度的，三个人都能给这，这个将是神给的，其实能看能跑的，对我其实那个跑的是的你那个内，对我的个生活手，就能看见我的手，这个的心是别说，不然我怕感情不。全部的接受，这我的三八一三月说的月度的，真是能不去吧？这个的你开始记，希望你是人觉得上辈上千人度的，三月人度的理解，这个将是神给的，其实能看能把的，这我就是那个吧。那是让人那个来，这我的给什么说？三个月就不会工厂吧？所有龙波在我这个，三个月过生了上山了。大家慕尼玛尼耶娑哈，大家慕尼玛尼耶娑哈，大家慕尼耶娑哈，大家慕尼玛娑哈，大家慕尼耶娑哈，大家慕尼玛哈，大家慕尼耶娑哈，大家慕尼耶娑哈。
So as I said earlier about thinking about something is good, and we can sort of obsess about the thought. And people obsess about the thought of many things, but they don't change. And it's not until there's a deeper feeling in the heart, and the deeper feelings of the heart interface with that of our thinking. And we engage as though that was the reality. I like this person, so you have a feeling of actually engaging in whatever that might mean, that you like the situation or the person or etc. So now you must feel, not just think. You're receiving the blessings of the Buddha, white, red, blue, yellow. And these energy vortexes, they begin to resonate at a frequency which is inherent within, that is not separate from the enlightened ones. We'll say there's a frequency in which the enlightened manifestation occurs, which is within us, but we're so disconnected that we cannot find the balance of the oscillation of these particular vibrations. So now we're in sync with the enlightened quality that lies within each and every one of us. Having received the blessings ourselves and others in the empty bindu of space, blue bindu of space, sitting on a moon cushion is the seat so ah. And that ah is brilliant and radiant like a sun or a star. And the quality of loving kindness and compassion permeates the totality of space in the 10 directions. Whether that is true or not is not important. What's important is that we engage in the process. And by engaging in the process, then we begin to create that reality. It doesn't necessarily mean that we have to discount the reality in which we presently exist, but we are overlaying, we're superimposing a different reality onto this present one. And then just perhaps it will alter the present one. This is the whole theories, many theories. Anyway, this goes back to the ancient texts, ancient times. So continuously radiate loving kindness and compassion and draw in all of the negativities. Now, none of us wants to acquire any of this devastating virus. But imagine the causality, ignorance, desire, and anger. We want to draw that in. Draw in the arrogance of ignorance and replace it by sending out loving kindness and compassion, the essence of knowledge and wisdom. When we do these things, I think we can begin to change our present realities. At a most basic level, we can see information, whether it's science or secular or sacred, doesn't necessarily change until we as individuals change within our hearts, to change our thinking, to change our perceptions and perspective and actions or behaviors. Then we can make change. So as you're sitting now, Tonglen of change I would use. Radiate loving kindness and compassion. Joy in all of the negativities. Count the hour going breath. And even though the period of actual sitting and practicing generating is short, it doesn't matter. A drop of water into the bucket begins to fill it up. And as you breathe out, let your hands just rest on your knees and just interfacing with the ever-presence or quality of the realized ones. The essence of those realized masters lies within each and every one of us. The intrinsic emptiness and clarity, space and light, knowledge and wisdom connect. Breathing out. Let's rest for a moment. So, you didn't meet Judge Rinpoche. On many occasions I sat, not in a, only once in a crowd of people, but all the other times I met with Judge Rinpoche, it was just Dorje Lama, Judge Rinpoche, Lama Dawa, Lama Thupten, Lama Thupten. It's 5 people. Then sometimes I met Judge Rinpoche, myself, Judge Rinpoche, Andres. On several occasions that it was like that. So this is one story I saw. Comes up, yeah, it's Judge Rinpoche. this also Toko Rinpoche. This story. So if you don't know, come back, yeah. So Judge Rinpoche was a great Tibetan teacher who lived a few miles outside of Dorje. He also Parping, we know Parping. Then whenever people came to see him, he would serve tea and pastry. I had this honor with him. But I know who this is. A Westerner came to see him, apparently to confirm his spiritual realization. He told Judge Rinpoche how he constantly experienced being one with everything that existed. When the tea and pastry was set before him, he declined, saying that he observed a very pure diet and he didn't eat that kind of food anymore. He then returned to his lengthy description of his experience, and Gyaltsen Rinpoche listened quietly. When the visitor had finished, Gyaltsen Rinpoche still said nothing, and eventually the visitor stood up to leave. Gyaltsen Rinpoche said, if, and he would speak like this, if you are one with everything that exists, asked Gyaltsen Rinpoche, why didn't you have tea and pastry? Maybe you understand. You'll get one more to entertain you, perhaps. So, and Rinpoche also told me of someone who came to him and did the same thing. But Rinpoche asked, if you are what you profess, then I will leave my seat, and you come and sit here, and then I will sit where you are. Obviously, the person was very humbled. There was another Lama, here he is. He was very in the 70s. He was from Kopan Monastery, which is just below Nagi Gampa. But, and again, I've heard these teachings before. If you're not tested, you take teaching after teaching and think you're okay. But when you're confronted with the difficult situations, it's possible that you'll find you're not okay at all. So that when true Dharma practitioners welcome trouble, so that's why true Dharma practitioners, we welcome trouble. It gives us a chance to see if what they have been studying works or not. A chance to transform suffering into happiness. Otherwise, you just go lightly along, completely out of touch with reality, thinking you're okay when you're not, because you haven't actually been practicing Dharma at all. To put this another way, painful situations are a source of wisdom. How so? First of all, painful situations arise as a result of non-virtuous karma. When we experience pain, we should ask, why is this happening to me? How has this come about? That sort of inquiry leads us to understand that it's the ripening of negative karma we created in the past. That basic understanding can grow into wisdom. The painful experience helps us develop a deeper understanding that is beyond the merely intellectual. Of course, if you're completely ignorant and arrogant, it doesn't matter how much suffering you experience. There's no way for that to lead to happiness. All you do is go from misery to more misery. If, on the other hand, you have at least a mediocre understanding of Dharma wisdom, when you are in difficulty, you know how to use the experience to lead yourself into happiness. One Lama said, when things go well, you're a great Dharma practitioner. When things go badly, your Dharma disappears. When your stomach is full and sunshine is pouring into your room, it's easy to look religious. But when difficulties arise, you come up empty. So, I've heard this many, many times. I say to myself, so you call yourself a Dharma practitioner. And like a hair being pulled out of warm butter, you whine and moan and cry and scream. You don't want to be like that. So we have been in the midst of very challenging situations for longer than which we expected. And I think it's been a blessing and grounding. Our possibility of becoming very sick and dying and watching our loved ones endure the same fate is imminent. But we still have to stand up with the joy and happiness and faith and compassion and loving kindness, don't we? So this is what I'm asking of myself, and this is what I'm asking of you. We don't need to stand in the box and pontificate, etc. Just be present. Go to the market, and as you go up and down the aisles, when you're riding on your horse, when you're driving down the highway in the snow, when you see someone that you have difficulty communicating with, recognize their enlightened Buddha nature and treat them like your parent. The parent that we should love regardless of what happens. And so forth and so on. You know all of these things. Now you have the wonderful opportunity. Like it says, when the sunshine is bright and we have everything we need, we don't think about the suffering of ourselves and others. But at the moment, like a small child, and living in Alabama, something would happen, or living in, oh God, please help me. Soon, I won't do it again. Only to know that we only said false words. So, Guru Rinpoche, you are the infallible one which I look to. Bless me, protect me, watch over me. During these difficult times, may I recognize it is nothing more than the fruition of my past karmic actions coming to bear. May I learn from them and rise up and see how to be more fair. I talk to myself like this. Maybe it makes some sense to you. I don't want you to me or you fight Peggy practitioner. Better we just all stay in ourselves and hide away and practice, and from the deepest level begin to alter and change the fabric of consciousness itself. And not until consciousness and the thinking change, we will always have some virus. And the biggest one, my ignorance. I need an inoculation. I want the Buddha to come and give me a jab in the arm. So, so, as we now continue to practice with the time we have left, I hope, I wish and pray that Guru Rinpoche come with one big syringe, right? Maybe put into your bum. Ow! Inject you with loving kindness and compassion, with a faith and a devotion and a just. And you just wake up. By this afternoon, Guru Rinpoche, come and inoculate them with the awakened intimate, to anoint you. In the old text it says to lay the hands upon, and to put, I forget the name. You get the red blessing, it'll come back to me. Or the oil, you are anointed. May Guru Rinpoche and the Buddhas and the enlightened ones, before this day is out, may you be anointed. Urgyen Samten. May all sentient beings be blessed. May all sentient beings have the same realization or recognize as Guru Rinpoche. Wouldn't that be fantastic? Urgyen Samten Ling Gonpa june jasu jagudu nando mampu gege jasu darugi Tunde la jasu guru bama sideu Urgyen Joji Nana Bema Gita Nukula Nyasen Joji Bema June Satsura Gudu Nando Mampu Urgyen Dasu Tunde Vache Sasu Guru Bema Sidi Urgyen Joji Nana Bema Gita Nukula Nyasen Joji Gudu Ema June Jasura Goju Nando Makoto Yege Jazu Daruye June Vashi Jasu Guru Bama Sile
Lama Tukya Kula Shuvade Urgyen Samten Shuvade Gyaltsen Tupe Singsamshi Kusum Thupten Chanten Leki Jesu Nade Dewa Sepeku Tuse Tetan Tena Tsoto Lama Lamchu Sochu Kula Shuvade Urgyen Samten Shuvade Samden Chipping and Tuchida, to say the control, and to jump out of the Wasi, Kode to the River was a show, was silent and canvas, rumors and touch of us, what the Dusan Colas morning. That taken colors of Palabu, and then the best of the from Satin and Lashaw, the only two cases in the Buddhadharma. This is a very component, Ransom to put in the place, so Lama show.
So we could say a convergent wavelength, convergent, but a divergent feeling. Feeling the emptiness of the toes, the feet, the legs, torso, the arms, the feeling. But within that, the psychic aspect. The channels, the chakras, the nadis, breathe in and release. Your intent is to cleanse and purify. clear the speech, clear the speech. Buddhadharma Samaya Za Om Vitsaranale Pavadaye Soha Buddhadharma Samaya Za Om Madramrita Kundale Hana Om So then, Guru Rinpoche, Yeshishoda, or Mandavara appear before you. You summons them. So we say it's the Rinzin Rupa. So now the lineage of the Buddhadharmas surround it. They surround Guru Rinpoche and consort. Right in front of you, radiating energies out. And therefore you say, Sangye to Nanzo Ye to Namba Taji Nanzo Ye to Nange to Lamen Sangye to Nanzo Ye to Namba Nanzo Badu Dani Taji Nanzo Ye to Sangye to Nanzo Ye to Namba Nanzo Badu Dani Taji Nanzo Ye to Lamen Sangye So Dorje Narana Place the Bhadra tent around. So you're establishing the field and you're preparing the seat. We're going to say, come and sit down. Then we go back. So we have a shana so what give what can do in the lama. The major give a lot of the number you want to make so they didn't go on. No, simply to be others. Sri Mata Lama to the Lama to Adanda Lama to Kusunda Chana Shawade Urgyen Rinpoche Vasuvade Ganja Baje Nidunjen Dorje Tamba Drubadam Chodamuna Nodo Adi Guru Adi Sa So the special feature, not ordinary person, is a big leap for all of us. Each one of us is the manifestation of Guru Rinpoche. We're manifesting as the deity for the benefit of all sentient beings. It's not one of sort of an ego-clinging pride, oh, I'm Guru Rinpoche. No, humble servant Guru Rinpoche to bring the wisdom, knowledge, the awakening during this Kala Yuga, during these rocking times. Guru Rinpoche is said to have been able to subjugate and subdue the negative energies that were present at the time of the inception of the Buddhist tradition within Tibet. It would be wonderful if his presence and powers could manifest now to eradicate the ignorance that continues the suffering to this day. The virus is only, what do we call, a symptom. It's the symptomatic manifestations of much deeper rooted problems. Our thinking, our inability to wake up and change. And we like misery. It's become the drug of choice. Misery. So now, you are Guru Rinpoche in your heart. This is from Lama Solam Pazi. Lotus sun moon disk. In the middle of that moon disk sits the 9-pronged Dorje. In the middle of that Dorje is a seed silver womb. The Dorje is golden in color, radiant light. And the mantra Om Aham Bhagavad Guru Namaste Om written clockwise, moving clockwise, radiant lights move in 10 directions. cleansing and purifying and liberating all obscurations, sins, defilements, and negative karmic action and disease. So as you do this last round, this concept of divergent or convergent and divergent wavelengths that come from thinking and feeling. What you're thinking, in one respect, you've established the thought of visualization of yourself as deity and counterpart. The feeling is the radiant quality, like perhaps maybe the flowing of the clouds. It's like the blessings are flowing out from yourself as the center. And just as the clouds are moving through the field of space, your feeling and your thought to be a benefit for all sentient beings is also radiating out like the clouds moving in space. Invite, invoke Dorje Samten to come. We only do a few. We may have to go just maybe 10 minutes forward. But you invited in Dorje Samten, the embodiment also of all of the peaceful and miraculous deities now. And you as the Rinpoche Dorje Sampa is in front of you, and you are appealing to Dorje Sampa, please cleanse and purify the totality of space-time. Vajra Samaya Om Badru Zatu Samaya Mano Badaya Badru Zatu Subhagaya Nagova Narada Nagova Zavazid Nagaya Zara Namazu Om Sarada Gata Ramani Nagava Samaya Om Badru Zatu Samaya Mano Badaya Badru Zatu Tudu Nagova Subhagaya Nagova Subhagaya so was it in memory of the Lord and was it a man Sarah So was it in memory of the Lord and was it Samaya Badru Zatu Samaya Mano Skadu Nagova Sudogaya Nagova Sudogaya So see memory of the Saka Setum Setum Guru Sada Dada Badru Nanim Bhavana Samaya Zatu Vadam Badru Zatu Samaya Mano Padaya Skadu Nagova Sudogaya Nagova Sudogaya Thupten Sedum Sedum Guru Om Salva Tata Gata Vadra Mani Puto Bhava Maha Samaya Santu Yovaji Nidu Dorje Sampa So now, still recognizing oneself as Rinpoche, you now summons the deities, those whom you subjugated, pacified, and subdued. You say, now come and be present and fulfill your oath. You say, Depa Dande Damze Ge Dande Yondo Jose Namo Guru Namo Guru Namo Guru Om Sweetie Haraga Ram Dende Bande Dande Bande Dende Doje Nedonde Dande Jeje Doje Meze Nange Dorje Guru Ase Ram Yam Oma Oma we are the crucibles of change. And the jewels of infinite possibilities are within each and every one of us at this very moment. But we don't believe. And ego clinging is impatient and arrogance. It takes time. It took time for us to create this reality. But to create the realities of infinite possibilities can happen like that. Just changing a thought and practicing that again and again and again. The theory is if you change the field, then you alter matter. Change the energetic resonant. Then everything that flows out from that also must change. You see. So you've now practiced. Now we've been here for 2 hours almost, etc. As you go through the day for the next hour, at least practice. You had a good meal. You know, you have a good meal. You lay back, you go take a nap, you unloosen your belt or whatever, and you enjoy. Oh, that was such a good meal, blah, blah, blah. Right? Oh, now I have to go clean up. Rats. So we just had a good meal. Where are you now? Are you lighter? Are you more open, more spacious? Are we still carrying what we brought to our seat 2 hours ago? Bam! 2 hours ago, just like that. Enjoy your life. Live life with a passion. Because it'll be like that. Boom! Oh my goodness, there goes the breath. Come back! The Yama says, no, so sorry, that breath is with me. You're done. Maybe next time. So for the rest of the day, at least for the next hour, me too. Practice the essence of the mind of the deity. Practice the essence of the heart of the deity. And let your thoughts and your heart unite. Divergent, convergent. In a balanced fashion. Urgyen Mama let go of what is past. Let go of what may come. Let go of what is happening now. don't try to figure anything out. And don't try to make anything happen. That's taking now.